The push towards the playoffs starts right now, and the Dragons need to overcome a team they haven't beat in years in the PGCBL and the 9-time champion Mohawks. Welcome to Eastfield here in Glens Falls, New York. I'm Nathaniel Cunningham, joined alongside Luke LaRose as the Glens Falls Dragons get set to take on the Amsterdam Mohawks. Yesterday was that get-right game for the Dragons, Luke, because it was a 5-3 win over Oneonta, but you started to see the pitching staff really bunker down thanks to Jeremy Graham, and the offense, a little change in the lineup, seemed to work in favor.
It did, and it was a game where you needed the pitching staff to step up in a big way. Glens Falls has lost a lot of pitchers towards the tail end of this year. Graham had another quality start, pitched great, handed the ball off to Christian Mello. He threw a good 2 innings, and then you hand the ball off to your closer, J.J. Trudeau. Trudeau kind of scared you a bit, like every good closer does. Locked in, got the win, got the save, his second year. All facets of the pitching game were clicking.
Just the third save of the season for Glens Falls, but 3 saves in 10 games won. You'll take that almost any day of the week. On the flip side, Amsterdam, arguably the hottest team in the entire PGCBL, with a 24-7-1 record here in the second week of July. We've seen it firsthand a couple of times this season, Luke, but Amsterdam, when they hit a couple of times, it all of a sudden becomes an 8-0 game like that.
Yeah, just looking at their stats, their team is deep, got numbers and numbers of players hitting over 300, a lot of guys hitting over 250. They are loaded, they are stacked. Their offense can just flick a switch and just run away with the game.
A plethora of Division I talent from all sorts of Power 5 conferences. The SEC well represented for the Mohawks, and they're also well represented by a pair of PGCBL All-Stars. Their 2-hole hitter and cleanup guy today, Chris Holcraft and Bray Touchstone, have been the anchors in this Mohawk lineup.
Touchstone got 24 RBIs. He is electric. A lot of these guys, just insane numbers, including both of their All-Stars.
They've got a couple of pitching guys as well as a couple of players that have left the Mohawks squad. So to have a total of 6 All-Stars named to the team and only a couple of them in the lineup tells you really how deep this Mohawks squad is. They've got to contend with a Dragons team that currently sits now just 6.5 games out of that final spot, but it is the toughest stretch of the season coming up for Glens Falls because of no double headers after the July 15th date. What was supposed to be a double header for the Dragons on July 23rd against the Utica Blue Sox, that second game has now been moved to July 15th, which means from the 14th through the 23rd, the Dragons will play a game over 11 consecutive days.
That is a rough stretch. Doubleheader against Socrates. They're playing a lot of baseball in a short amount of time. Everyone's going to need to step up. Everyone's going to need to elevate their play just to have a shot at clawing those 6 games back.
Going to be tough with Mohawk Valley, who's really propelled themselves to be one of the better teams as well in the PGCBL this season. And with Glens Falls team ERA sitting around 5, they need to hold their entire staff responsible in hopes that a team that their ERA has actually ballooned up to 7 after a couple of rough games against the Mohawks and some other squads as well, that the team can hold it down throughout. It'll be the All-Star Dylan Harding getting his first start for the Dragons since being named to the East Division squad, though, Luke. And if there's a guy that you trust to be his best self against this Amsterdam team, it's arguably the best pitcher on the Dragon staff.
It is. He had a little bit of a rougher go the first time out, last time out, the day he was named to the All-Star game. It was an afternoon game, played in the heat. Now he's got a nice evening start. He's been their best pitcher throughout the season. He's going to need to do it again to try to corral this bloated offense that Amsterdam has.
He faced the Mohawks squad back on July 6th, but you mentioned it was game 1 of the doubleheader in what was 93-degree weather here in Eastfield. He went just 4 innings, gave up 8 hits, allowed 3 runs, struck out 4, and walked 1. He was handed the loss, his second of the season, and really that was the muted game because the second half of that doubleheader is really when you saw Amsterdam explode. They took it 9-1. So Dylan Harding gets a chance at redemption against this stacked lineup, and we've talked about it enough. How about we run you through what Amsterdam throws out there? It'll be Luke Philippi, the center fielder. He's starting it off for the Mohawks. The all-star Chris Holcraft will be over at short. The new guy, John McKillop, is over at first, and then Bray Touchstone cleans it up. The other all-star will be catching. Jaden Harriel will be over at third. Will Cohen will be out and right. He's hitting sixth. John Young Jr. will be the extra hitter in today's contest. In the seventh spot, Sebastian Harden is out in left. He'll be hitting 8. The designated hitter, Brad Curtis, is 9. And then rounding out the 10-man lineup for the Mohawks is Peyton Jemison, the second baseman.
This lineup is deep. They are loaded. Look at the 8-hole hitter, Sebastian Harden. He's hitting .333 on the year. He's got 12 RBIs, which is nowhere near the team lead, but .333 is good enough for 4th on the year on the team, and he's the only guy actively playing.
This Amsterdam team, top 5 in the PGCBL in batting average. They hit .279 as a squad, but it's not so much what they do collectively as a team. It's the fact that they have just 170 strikeouts. That's second fewest in the entire conference, while having 74 extra base hits. That leads the entire PGCBL as well. So the offense does a good job of not striking out, getting on base, handing the baton to the next guy, and it's really just a snowball effect from Amsterdam.
Yeah, Amsterdam, just look at the numbers, like I said, jump out the page, and they're very, very good at moving on. They've got a number of guys over 400 with their on-base percentage. They can get on base, they can score a lot of runs, they can damage you in all facets of the game.
The team with the lowest batting average in the PGCBL is the home squad in today's matchup. It's the Glens Falls Dragons. They're hitting just .222 as a team, but they look to change that against the best team in PGCBL history. Leading off for the Dragons is the center fielder Tyree Jackson. Gino Savoca works his way up to the 2-hole. He'll be over at short. The all-star Aiden Gallagher is out in left with Nick Galello, who hit his 3rd home run, one of just 8 players in the PGCBL to say they've done that. He'll be hitting cleanup. James Houghton is over at second. He's worked himself back into the lineup as a lefty bat. Jackson Mueller, the designated hitter, will be hitting 6th. Enrique Diaz returning to the hot corner. Had a couple of games off, but he's over there. Ryan Jones, the 3rd-string catcher, gets the start today. And then Chase Falcon will round out the lineup in right field.
And you mentioned his 3rd home run. I want to take a look at Nick Galello. He's got his average all the way up to .278 on the year. 2nd on the team in RBIs. He's been able to turn it up lately. Had a great game last night. I think continuing a very, very strong stretch of games for him.
Galello has made it hard to keep him out of the lineup, and with head coach Ryan Dio in choosing to go to a 9-man lineup instead of the traditional 10 that he was rolling out for the first month of the season, Galello has solidified himself over there at first. All right, we're done here at East Field for now. We're going to send it to Billy for our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we marched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, came through the night, that our flag was still there,
So welcome back to the broadcast booth here at East Field as Dylan Harding gets set out there on the mound for the first pitch. But speaking about this matchup again, it's a tough one as you think about Glens Falls. They need to get back in the win column or continue that win streak against, again, the hottest team in the PGCBL in the Amsterdam Mohawks, who really, this Glens Falls team was a half an inning away from beating earlier this season at Shuttleworth Park. The Dragons had the lead going into the bottom of the ninth, but then Amsterdam scored 3 runs, and they took that one. So you know the Dragons can put themselves in that spot. They just need to get over the hump to get that first win against a team they haven't beaten in a couple years.
Yeah, and so you've got your best pitcher on your team trying to shut him down, and offensively, well, maybe not the A lineup for Glens Falls, maybe 1B. You go that way. Got many of your best hitters. Some other guys who've been plug and play, like James Houghton, who's forced his way in the lineup and playing great, but they need to offensively turn it on against Amsterdam, and then just hope Harding can keep it as close as he can.
Amsterdam started the season on a 9-game win streak. After that, they then went 3-4 over their next 7. It looked like the best team in the PGCBL was really going to come to a halt, and we were going to crown a new champion here in 2025. Well, after that 3-4 stretch, they then proceeded to put together a 9-0-1 stretch, which has got them to where they are. And the last time they took a loss was down in Saugerties against the Stallions just a couple days ago on July 9th. So this isn't a team that's used to losing a ton, and that losing streak came back in mid-June. So maybe they're hot for the rest of the year, but there's also the potential that this Amsterdam team that was hovering just a couple games above 500 might fall back to that same spot.
Yeah, there's a chance that in mid-June they were just still trying to put all the pieces together, still trying to work out all the kinks. Or maybe that's really the team that they are, and they're going to fall off this insanely hot streak that they're on. Only time will tell.
Well, the time to see if the Dragons can get over the hump and beat the opponent they haven't taken down in a couple of seasons. It's the Amsterdam Mohawks and the Glens Falls Dragons set for action here at East Field. Luke Philippi, the center fielder, steps into the box. Hardin comes set on the mound. The first pitch he throws is outside for ball 1, and we're underway here at East Field. Philippi in the box. He's hitting just 184 this year, but he's got 38 walks this season as he chops that one over towards Savoca at short. He fields it cleanly on 2 hops, throws over to Galello at first, and it's a quick and easy out number 1 to start the ball game. And Savoca did an excellent job to read it on the hop. The East Field hops are a thing. They've definitely given the Dragons some troubles. But Savoca made it excellent for the 8th best defense in the PGCBL. In steps the shortstop, Chris Holcraft, who takes the first pitch he sees and lines it into center field. Harding's not happy because it skidded right underneath his glove. And now the Mohawks get their first base run of the game on a 1-pitch single from Chris Holcraft.
Showing you why he's an all-star right there. Put the ball in play.
Not afraid to swing away early. Now he moves the baton to the first lefty in the lineup for the Mohawks. It's John McKillop. McKillop getting just his 4th start of the summer. He watches a first pitch off speed outside for ball 1. Harding known to throw that breaking ball. He'll try to attack both halves of the plate. The 1-0 pitch is another breaking ball. This one in there to McKillop to make it even at 1 apiece. McKillop just finished up his freshman year out at Army, as they're going to go check on Holcraft over at first. He gets back in there safely, says field umpire Bill Decker. Home plate umpire in today's contest is Scott Paul. couple of guys that have made their trip up to Eastfield before. Harding comes set. The 1-1. Swung on and missed from McKillop. A gigantic gray cloud starts to cover up the sun. Makes Eastfield a little dimmer. Harding checking. The 1-2. Chopped on the ground over towards the second baseman, Houghton. He can't field it cleanly, throws over and not in time. So an E4 for James Houghton. Puts runners on first and second with one out.
About the clouds, throughout the night, some chances for some heavy showers scattered throughout Glens Falls. One might hit us, one might not. Kind of off and on all night long.
The first pitch now to the catcher, Bray Touchstone, is outside for ball 1. Definitely a concern coming into the day on whether or not this game was going to actually be played. Thunderstorms throughout the night gave a 25% chance of thunderstorms again now. The 1-0 to Touchstone. Misses outside.
I believe there's about a 25% chance at 7. If we make it through, we're good until about 9 o'clock, and then some rain might be on its way again.
Touchstone, the other all-star for the Mohawks, hitting .326 this season. He watches the 2-0 breaking ball hit the inside corner. Touchstone's 24 RBIs. That's tied top the team for the Mohawks. He's got a runner in scoring position, can increase, but he swings over the 2-1 breaking ball. Touchstone as well has also been kind of a magnet for baseballs themselves. Comes with being a catcher. He's been hit 10 times this season, most for Amsterdam. The 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball again. This was fouled off out of play over to the right-hand side by the Snack Shack.
To your point about his 10 hit by pitches, he's right on the line, tends to crowd the plate a little bit. That's why balls might run inside. You'll see his hand kind of hangs out over the plate.
So Holcraft on second, McKillop over at first. Touchstone in a 2-2 count. Harding comes set. The pitch. Chopped, foul off Touchstone's right leg. So the All-Star battling early, making Harding earn every out he gets. It was quick work for Luke Philippi, but then the heart of this Amsterdam lineup has gotten to Harding early, a single and then an error. The 2-2. Outside. Good job by Ryan Jones to keep it in front. First full count of the day for Dylan Harding. It's the third error of the season from James Houghton. Runner's on the move. Harding steps off. He's going to run straight at Holcraft, and then catching a pickle, Savoca's going to tag him out. So a great play from Dylan Harding, who got Holcraft trying to be a bit too aggressive. Makes it out number 2. Goes down as a 1-6 pickoff move. And now Harding just needs one pitch to break touchdown. The junior comes set. The payoff. Swung on and missed. Harding gets strikeout number 1 to end the top of the first. The Dragons offense, they can strike as we head to the bottom half. Welcome back to East Field, where Dylan Harding kept it clean in the top of the first. Scared everyone a little bit, gave up a single, and then another batter reached on an error, but had an excellent pickoff move to hold Chris Holcraft stuck between second and third. And instead, it's no runs on just one hit, no errors, and they strand one. For the Mohawks, on the mound, it'll be their starter, Zach Spurrier. For the last time he pitched was back on July 8th against this same Glens Falls team in a 9-0 victory. He came in, got a hold where he threw 2 innings, gave up 0 hits and 0 runs. He struck out 4, and he went 6 up, 6 down across his 2 innings of work. He's got to face Tyree Jackson to start, who's aggressive early, takes the first pitch deep to left field, and you can kiss it goodbye. Tyree Jackson takes the first pitch thrown by the Mohawks, and he takes it yard. Glens falls on top early, 1-0.
Jackson's aggressive. He saw that pitch, and he hammered it. Hasn't shown his power over the summer, but good power numbers in college, and he shows it right there.
First home run of the year, 7th RBI, and the Dragons lead it. Welcome to East Field, Zach Spurrier. Now the baton just keeps getting handed. Give it over to Gino Savoca, the shortstop. He takes a big cut at the first pitch. Now the 1-0. Runs inside, gets away from the catcher, touchstone, and straight to the backstop. First home run of the summer for Tyree Jackson. 9th player on the Dragons to say they've got a long ball. One of the other guys that can say they've hit a homer, Savoca at the plate. The 2-1 pitch. Runs inside for ball 3. Savoca is just hitting 175 this season, but it's really been the defense and the fact that he's got 17 walks that leads the Dragons. The 3-1. He lines this one out into straightaway right field. Cowan has got to come in a couple of steps, and he brings it in for out number 1. So after the leadoff home run by Tyree Jackson, Spurrier does a good job to get the next out. So the other all-star in the lineup, the sole fielding all-star for the Dragons, Aiden Gallagher, watches the first pitch ball in the dirt. Gallagher's 2025 has been absolutely stellar. He's got a .293 batting average with 3 doubles, 2 home runs as he chops that one into left field for a base knock. That'll help push the batting average back towards 300. And the Dragons, they're not done yet. They've got to run around first. So in steps the first baseman, Nick Galello. Gallagher on the move, the first pitch. The throw's offline, and Gallagher will get in there clean.
Gallagher, not really a stolen base guy.
Quite the contrary. Gallagher grabs his 14th stolen base of the season. That leads the Dragons in free pass and stolen bag. So now Glens Falls has got a runner in scoring position. To Galello. He takes a big cut at the ball in the dirt, fouls it off his right leg, and steps out of the box. Galello had that home run, his 3rd of the year, yesterday against Oneonta. It pushed the lead at the time to 4 runs for the Dragons. It made Galello just one of 8 players in the PGCBL with 3+ long bombs. The 0-2. Galello fouls this one off. It's going to get out of play and over towards the parking lot. So Galello's .278 batting average put to the test, fouled off a couple. No one's holding Gallagher on. The 0-2 is swung on and missed. Spurrier gets his first strikeout of the day. Sends Nick Galello down swinging. And brings up James Houghton. So another lefty in the lineup for Glens Falls. The second baseman, Houghton, is hitting .261 this season, getting his 8th game started. The first pitch he sees is an off-speed pitch in the dirt.
Wind is really, really picked up here. You can see out in the outfield that Albany Med sign looks like it's about to take flight.
Wind is blowing out towards the left as the 1-0 is fouled straight back. So a little bit out, but really pretty much directly to straightaway left. The 1-1. Right on the inside half. So now it's a 1-2 count to James Houghton. Gallagher stands on second. Reached him via a single and then stole the 1-2. Outside. The 2-2. This one's lined into the left center field gap. It's going to get down. They're going to send Gallagher to home. Houghton is going to round first, and it's an RBI single to put the Dragons on top. 2-0.
The script for Glens Falls versus Amsterdam flipped a little bit. Amsterdam usually takes the early leads, but not tonight.
Third RBI of the year for James Houghton. Puts the second run across and brings up Jackson Mueller. Mueller had an excellent game yesterday as well. He went 2 for 2 with 2 doubles, reached via a walk, and had a sacrifice fly. He takes an absolutely massive cut at the 1-0 pitch. Now he steps out, stretches down. Swings like that usually will stretch your back out pretty well as is, but the 1-1 from Spurrier. That one's fouled off to the right-hand side. And the Samford commit struggling a little bit early here at East Field. They're going to go check over at first, but back in will be Houghton. Got a couple of Dragons players over by the tarp just in case the gray skies to start to fall. I could check on Houghton again. He gets back in there by just a half a step. Houghton doesn't have a stolen base attempted here in 2025, but he's getting nice and sizable lead off of first. So Spurrier comes set. The 1-2. This one's popped up on the infield. Settling underneath it is going to be Jemison. He grabs it in for out number 3, but the Dragons do damage first. They lead it 2-0 as we head to the top of the second. The offense got Dylan Harding a 2-run lead. Now the starters got to go shut it down here in the second. Alongside Luke LaRose, I'm Nathaniel Cunningham. As a couple of droplets here at East Field start to fall, the sky's beginning to open up. It'll be 4, 5, and 6. Jaden Harriel, the third baseman, leads it off. The first pitch he sees, takes a big cut at, but comes up empty-handed. Harriel this season's hitting .277. He's got 5 doubles. That's second on the team. As he watches the 0-1 pitch outside. It's crazy to think that Jaden Harriel's .277 average puts him middle of the pack on this Mohawks as he takes a 1-1 cut. But about half the squad is hitting over .277, and that's already 60 points above the Mendoza line. The 1-2. Another breaking ball from Harding. Just missed below the zone. So you already see some umbrellas unlatched here at East Field. Not enough rain to cause a stoppage, but enough to warrant some protection as Harriel draws the count full. The payoff is fouled off to the right-hand side. Harriel doing a good job to fight it off. Something this Mohawk squad does very well. Make sure that the opposing pitchers earn their outs. The 3-2. Inside, and the FAU guy draws his 15th walk of 2025. First free pass issued from Dylan Harding. Puts a runner on first with nobody out. So the right fielder, Will Cowan, steps into the box. Cowan hitting .262 across 19 games this year. He's also got 5 doubles. Again, tied third on the team, and he watches the first pitch breaking ball in the zone for strike 1. They're going to go check over on Harriel at first. It's bounced in the dirt off the third baseman, so he gets back in there, but takes a gut shot with it. The 0-1. This one's popped up into foul territory. Jones settles underneath it, but it's called off by the first baseman, Galello. Jones gives a long stare to his teammate, who had to come super far to make a sliding play. Jones was settling underneath it, and now there's some jokes towards the dugout. The catcher clearly could have got there, as now the rain really starts to come down here at East Field. You saw it completely change, the visuals just looking different. It seems pretty consistent. It's starting to come out into our broadcast booth as well. The first pitch to Will Cowan is in there for strike one. And give us 1 second. We'll be right back. Had to take some time to cover up, eliminate any of the rain getting inside our booth here as the 1-0 pitch misses outside.
I'd imagine if the umpires called the game, they'd call it sooner rather than later.
Doesn't look like any thunderstorms or lightning, but definitely starting to come down as they're going to go check over on Harriel again at first.
Worried about the playing conditions on the field. East Field, they don't have a tarp to cover the whole field, just around home plate and the mound.
2-0 to Young Jr. in the dirt for ball three. And now the question has become whether or not Dylan Harding can hold on to the ball. And now he's going to ask for a new one from home plate umpire Scott Paul. So you could see Harding was looking for some rosin, a rosin bag out on the mound, but potentially seeing now he's going to ask for a third baseball. And usually that's the signal that a time to stop it is going to be. And then Harding comes in. He says, I can't grip a baseball. And the umpires are going to step off. So we're going to see if this is just a delay here at East Field or whether or not this is going to be it. So we'll be back in a couple of minutes to give you an update. But the Dragons, they got an early lead on the Mohawks, 2-0. Welcome back to Eastfield. You can see the rain on the camera. The tarp's still on the diamond. The game has been canceled. And Luke, this one really stings because the Dragons not only had a 2-0 lead, large in part to Tyree Jackson's first homer, but the Dragons were looking to snap a 24-game losing skid to Amsterdam, and this game won't get replayed.
No, that's unfortunate. Off to a hot start, trying to beat that losing skid, and just, unfortunately, Mother Nature had other plans.
The Dragons, though, maybe using some of that momentum from yesterday, transitioning to today. Now the focus has got to translate to Monday. The Dragons take on the Saugerties Stallions down in Saugerties. We'll have a broadcast for that game as well, so hopefully Glens Falls can keep what they need to do up. Dylan Harding looked pretty good despite a single and a couple of walks, but he looked pretty solid, and maybe he's ready to go on Monday again, or when the Amsterdam Mohawks take on the Glens Falls Dragons. That one out in Shuttleworth on Wednesday. So a lot of contention, but again, got to mention with that rescheduled Utica game on July 15th, that's going to make it 9 consecutive games over the next 10 days for Glens Falls.
It's a lot of baseball in a short amount of time. It's going to be a tough stretch. They're going to need everyone to step up. I guess the one silver lining is they probably won't play this game at all. So
no time for this game to get played unless it happens tomorrow, and with how late this was, I doubt it gets rescheduled for Sunday. Either way, it's 15 days that the Dragons have left. They play 14 games over the last 15 of the season, as this one gets rained out with the Dragons on top. It won't get replayed with no time, but a tough one for Glens Falls. From our entire staff here with the Dragons, from Luke LaRose, I've been Nathaniel Cunningham. A rain out ends what could have been a historic game for Glens Falls.